There's nothing better than seeing a cocky fighter get served a slice of humble pie. Humility is the most important tool to learn if you're in combat sports. For fighters that have too much pride can cloud their point of view and hinder themselves from self-improvement. And while it is tragic to hear about a fighter going through such mental turmoil, it is so satisfying to watch a cocky fighter get his comeuppance. Nothing exemplifies what I just said more than this fight. Luke Rockhold versus Michael Bisping 2. I'm Hobo Quills, and this is MMA Underrated Upsets. I never liked Luke Rockhold. I never liked Luke Rockhold at all. He's a condescending douchebag who thinks that everything he touches turns to fucking gold. Despite his rocky debut, he was on a wear and tear in the UFC. At the time, given his win streak, it would have been a crime to not give him the title shot. Thus, Rockhold would take on the Silver Slayer himself, Chris Weidman. The fight was a classic back and forth war, with both guys getting their moments. But then, out of nowhere, Weidman attempted a spinning back kick. The sloppily executed technique would leave him open to a takedown, after which Luke would punish him with severe ground and pound, which left him disoriented at the end of the round. The next round, Luke would take down Weidman again and finish him via TKO. While this was the biggest win in Rockhold's career, there were still some people that called the victory a fluke due to Weidman missing the spinning back kick, and thus a rematch was booked. Unfortunately, Weidman would injure himself mere weeks before the fight. The UFC scrambled to find a new opponent. For a while, it seems nobody was coming to the table except one British hero, Michael Bisping. At the time, Bisping was classified as somewhat of a journeyman. However, at the time, he was on a 3-fight win streak. One of those wins being against former champ Anderson Silva. And while the fight would be on 17 days notice, Michael Bisping was not that far from fighting shape, considering the fact that he was training to be in an action movie. The fight was officially booked and nobody gave Bisping a chance. Many people thinking he was up there in age, and people also point out the fact that he had lost to Rockhold before in pretty convincing fashion. Bisping would not be discouraged. He stated that if you believe in Jesus, you believe that I'm going to win this title. Unsurprisingly, Rockhold was pretty dismissive of Bisping's confidence, telling Bisping things like there's no such thing as destiny. More of Bisping's confidence was put on display in the press conference prior to the fight. Bisping would constantly call out Rockhold for his condescending and prickish behavior, and by God, is it satisfying. Let's just listen to it for a bit.
You overcome things. That's how you put yourself out there. You believe it, and you achieve it. And that's what I do. I know what I'm going to do. I know that I'm better than this.
Sounds like the worst self-help book you've ever read. Conceive, believe, achieve. Shut the fuck up. Listen.
Yeah.
You're talking like you're like this dominant champion. You just won the belt. This is your first defense. It's not like you're Anderson Silva, who I just beat, by the way. Okay, this is your first defense. You're going to lose the belt.
And
just
watch
get
the
used
difference.
To it.
Cool. Yeah,
exactly.
I'll separate myself in the back. I'll
listen,
show
look,
you
everybody
and the
here
world
knows
that I'm that much
you won
better
the
than
first
you
fight.
and Anderson.
Everybody here knows you won the first fight. Congratulations. Yeah. Good job. Every fight is different, my friend. Every fight is different. You know that.
Hey.
So, what? You got something to say? Finish your sentence. You said, hey.
You're just an average bloke. You're just an average bloke.
Good use of English terminology.
I'm a fucking samurai. I'm going to come in there silent, undetected,
this?
And I'm going to knock you out. I'm going to make my kill, and I'm going to fucking be out.
You're making a fool
I'll be out on
yourself.
the next contract. Watch me.
All right, buddy. All right, listen. What are you going to do?
Silent. Undetected,
a left
done,
kick, a right hook. That's all you got.
Next.
So predictable. So predictable.
Now, as the saying goes, talk is cheap. Let's get to the fight. So from the walkouts all the way to the introduction, Bisping has this look of sheer, utter confidence in his eyes. When I saw this, I was immediately rooting for Michael Bisping. I mean, I love a good underdog story, and I thought it would be so epic if he could just pull off an upset on short notice. Even though this may seem unlikely at the time, I was hoping to God that he would pull this off. So the referee's going over the rules, and Michael Bisping has this big smile on his face. He's just trolling Luke Rockhold, and Luke Rockhold is clearly getting irritated by his antics. The two touch gloves, and the fight is now on. Here we go. The fight starts, and you can already see that Luke Rockhold is fighting cocky. His hands are down by his stomach, his chin is straight up in the air, and even Joe Rogan even calls it out. Bisping was already doing better than expected. I noticed that he was sitting down on his punches a lot more, and that he was landing the right hand at a very high volume level. This was unusual because Bisping likes to incorporate lots of movement and footwork into his strikes, rather than just sitting down, setting his feet, and trying to look for a knockout blow. But as the fight went on, I've noticed Bisping looked very, very determined to land a big shot. Maybe he saw the opportunity because Luke Rockhold had his hands down the whole time, or maybe he was just determined to land a big shot, just because he's been working on his strength and power, even though power is something you can't really teach. But I digress. Luke Rockhold was controlling the outside very well, especially with his kicks. He landed some very huge body kicks. One of them kind of hurt Michael Bisping. Despite this, the fight was more competitive than usual, with the striking numbers being very, very close. But then, the unthinkable happened. Luke Rockhold's carelessness would finally come back to bite him in the ass. A well-placed left hook counter to a very lazy jab, and history has been made. Michael the Count Bisping knocks out Luke Rockhold in the first round and became the first British middleweight champion. I jumped out of my seat when this happened. Those who don't know, Michael Bisping has been trying for over a decade to capture the belt, and he finally does it on 2 weeks' notice. Never underestimate the power of determination. When it comes to upsets in MMA, this one doesn't get enough credit. Yeah, Ronda Rousey and Holly Holm was a pretty big upset, which is another one I'll actually talk about. That's more of an overrated upset to me. But to me, this blows that one out of the water. Bisping clearly was looked upon as a journeyman fighter who had a roller coaster career and was pretty much on his way out the door. But then Bisping seemed to caught a career second wind and started peeling out big wins. And he was presented with an opportunity and seized the moment. And if that doesn't make this guy any more of a badass, the guy did all this with one eye. How did he manage to get medically cleared to fight? I don't know. But he did it. He achieved the impossible with one eye. After the knockout, Bisping was noticeably just ecstatic. As for Rockhold, he was saltier than the Pacific Ocean. He refused to shake Bisping's hand and stood there with his arms folded like a child who didn't get an Xbox. So how did it turn out in the future for both these two? Let's look at the aftermath. So Bisping was on top of the world. However, the contenders in line for the title was a freaking murderer's row. You had Robert Whittaker, who was on a wear and tear in the division at the time. You had Yoel Romero, who's just a scary dude all around. You had Chris Weidman, who is still recovering from the injury at the time, but still in the mix. Bisping knew that he was getting up there in age, and he didn't really stand a chance against these absolute killers. He kind of took the comfortable option. He seized this opportunity to get revenge on a guy who made him look silly 7 years prior to this fight. The Olympian, Dan Henderson. A seasoned veteran in his own right, Dan Henderson is best known for his trademark H-bomb, which Michael Bisping is very familiar with. However, he would rematch Dan Henderson and finally get his revenge winning by unanimous decision despite being knocked down twice. After then, he challenged George St. Pierre. After a competitive back and forth fight, Bisping would sadly lose by submission, being choked out in the second. Fight one more time, and again be defeated, this time by knockout, by Kelvin Gastelum. Despite going out on a couple of L's, Bisping still cemented his legacy as an absolute badass in the sport. He now works for the UFC as a sports commentator, and will always be remembered for his contribution to the organization. Wow, what an uplifting story. So how's that Luke Rockhold fellow holding up? Well, he did defeat David Branch, and it actually looked like he was on a fast track to getting back his belt. And then he fought Yo Romero.
And he is still trying to show Rockhold some marrow.
It didn't go his way. Guess the best thing to do is go up to light heavyweight and fight Jan Blachowicz. This seems like a good warm-up fight for him. I mean, I wonder how this turned out.
Time being spent. Huge look from Blachowicz. Wow.
Damn, a two-fight skid. Since the recording of this video, Rockhold has not fought since 2019. He does have some plans to fight soon. Let's just hope that he ditches his cocky attitude. Remember, kids, pride is a killer. Let's hope it doesn't kill any more of his freaking brain cells. Can you show me that knockout clip one more time? Oh God, yes, the pleasure. Hey guys, it's Hobo Quills. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be on the lookout for more MMA content in the future. MMA has been my passion since I was 6 years old. I've watched Pancration, I've watched Pride FC, and I thought it would be best to put all the commentary aside and just focus on what I'm passionate about. I look forward to giving you great content in the future. Thank you. God bless. Goodbye.